name is Katie. Welcome to my channel, Duckpotatoe's World. This is episode 23, the April 2024 episode of Katie's Created to Create, my video vlog where I discuss all of the crafty things I've been doing for the last month. Now, this is Easter weekend, so I hope that you have had a lovely Easter and Resurrection Sunday. I am reminded that I remember COVID when I couldn't go to church for Easter, and it was the strangest Easter, and I'm just so grateful for the opportunity to be able to gather with other believers and celebrate the resurrection of our Lord. So I hope that your Easter was beautiful. If this is your first time here, welcome. I'm so excited to have you. If you are returning for more of my craziness, then thank you. I'm so glad you've decided to come back. I hope you have something to knit or crochet while you're hanging out with me, and I will get into all the things that I have been up to. Now, I am not wearing any knitting today. It is 76 degrees outside. I don't even have on knit socks. It's toasty. The weather has been, you know, like everybody's weather is in the spring, hot and cold and hot and cold, and today's a hot day. So I'm not wearing any knitting. I do have a shawl. This is an Advent shawl that my mother knit for me and gave to me a few years ago. I picked it because it has all the bright, fun, kind of Easter feeling colors to it. That's hanging behind me, but that is all the knitting on my person or on about me today. But I do have lots of things to show you. While I haven't been wearing knitting in the last couple of days, I have been making knitting and crocheting, and I have quite a few finished objects I'm excited to share. So the first thing I want to share with you, this is my Attic 24 Granny Stripe. Well, the pattern is for a blanket. Unless you're a snake, this is not really a blanket, but it was a great way for me to learn and practice my crochet skills. So I made this out of just remnants. My mother and I think it was the 2021, might have been the 2022, Expression Fiber Arts Make-Along Blanket. The first year that Expression Fiber Arts did that, we made the blankets, and these were just the odds and ends that were left over from that blanket, and I used them to just crochet this little 2 feet of crochet practice. I did use a different border. The pattern for Attic 24 has a different border, but it looked complicated and I was stressed out. So Tracy and Melissa from Hot Springs Fiber Company showed me how to do just this neat little scalloped edge. This yarn is actually the only one that's not Expression Fiber Arts. This is the West Mountain yarn from Hot Springs Fiber Company. So I have finished this. And this is going to actually be headed to Hot Springs Fiber Company in a couple of weeks to be used in the Art in the Park yarn bomb that Hot Springs Fiber Company is sponsoring. In fact, the next several things I'm going to show you are all destined to head to Hot Springs and be used for Art in the Park. So the next thing that I finished, and I have 6 of these, and they are just flat panel pieces of stockinette that I made on my sock machine. So you can see they roll. They vary, I have 6 of them. They vary in length from maybe 2 feet to maybe 4. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, that was really long. I must have got carried away. 5. It's funny, most of them are about the same length. I really wasn't measuring them. I was just kind of going till I felt done. 6, and all of them are the same length except for this one that's really long. Anyway, they're all just flat panels that I made on my sock machine. I do have a couple of videos out about how I do flat knitting on my sock machine, and I will put in a little card there, so if you're interested in seeing that, you can. All of these are just made out of leftover sock yarn from pairs of socks that I've made in the past and either kept or given away. It's a lot of leftover sock yarn. All of this stuff was, well, not all of it, but most of it was already on cones, so it was easy to just pick up and use up. So yeah, I made 6 of these, and I was thinking they would be, because they're open, you know, but they roll because they're stockinette. I was thinking, like, if you had a telephone pole or something you could wrap around, or stop sign pole, that they would be useful for that. So 6 of these are all going off to Art in the Park. And then I had some yarn that I bought back in 2019. My friend Jennifer and I thought we would take a class on hand knitting, like where you don't use needles and you're using that really jumbo bulky yarn. So we took the class, and I really don't know why I bought 11 skeins of jumbo Twirl-tastic Yarn Bee yarn, but for some reason I did, even though I really didn't like doing that kind of knitting, and I have never used it. Like, we took the class, I think I literally gave the little piece that I knit in the class to my friend and never looked back. But I did have all this jumbo yarn in my stash, and I thought, you know, I'm never going to want this as an actual blanket. There's just no need for anything that thick and warm in Texas. And if I leave it sitting out on my couch, my dogs or my kids will ruin it. So I just never used it. So I went ahead and made 2 big, huge, honkin' hand knit pieces for Art in the Park. And I did one in stockinette. I think I had to use like 6 of the skeins for this one. They are heavy. And then I did another in like kind of a garter row. This one's only 5 skeins. It's a little skinnier. It alternates. See if you can see it. My lighting is not ideal. I have like a dark spot down here somewhere. Anyway, it alternates between 2 knit rows and then 2 purl rows, and then 2 knit rows and then 2 purl rows and then 2 knit rows, and it just kind of goes back and forth like that. So yeah, I made these. I thought these might be good to like cover a park bench, or I don't know what else. I'm not actually going to be able to attend the yarn bombing. I will be in Seguin at the Yellow Rose Fiber Festival with my mom that weekend, but I figured that's some large chunks of knitting that they should be able to find something to cover with for Art in the Park. So I did all of that this last month, and then I did some actual normal, you know, knitting for other reasons as well. So I did finish my Happy and You Know It hat. I think I had this cast on in the last episode. This is the one that is going to be the permanent shop sample at Hot Springs Fiber Company. And I did make it out of Hot Springs Fiber Company Magic Merino Sport. It has had plenty for the tassel. I didn't run out of yarn. And yeah, so I'm going to be taking this one to Hot Springs, not for the yarn bomb, but to live in the shop. And then back in February, I had bought some yarn from Hot Springs Fiber Company to knit a hat for my husband, because I had made one for him back in 2019 and he needed a new one and he wanted one just like it. So I bought some really nice Hot Springs Fiber Company Magic Merino wool, worsted wool to do, and then he found 2 random balls of Barocco vintage and decided he wanted his hat out of that. So the original hat that I knit back in 2019, I used Knit Picks Wool of the Andes, I think. And I don't remember the original colors, but there's like a heather green and a kind of a gray. I'm sorry about the dark spot. I need to find a light next time. But this was the original one. And believe it or not, this hat was actually much bigger originally. I guess after 5 years of wearing it and tugging on it and putting it in and out of his pockets and stuff, it has felted a little. It has shrunk a little. And the top of it, like you can kind of see my finger poking through there, the top of it's starting to wear thin. So he retired this to one of our sons adopted the old one, and I made him a new one out of the Barocco vintage. And it is a little bigger. I did some extra rows in the brim, and I used bigger needles. I went up a needle size, and this fits him really well. So even I think when I first finished the first one, you can see the difference. Even when I very first finished the first one, it was a little small, but not terrible, but it has definitely shrunk. So this one is nice and big. I don't think this one will shrink since it's not 100% wool. This was 100% wool, no superwasher. No, that's the other way around. This one was the one from Knit Picks, the old one, was 100% wool, no superwash or anything. So it felted a little, shrunk a little over time with use. That doesn't surprise me, especially with as much use as this hat got. But this one is Barocco. It's a wool blend. I doubt this one will. I like this hat. I'm gonna make one for myself at some point. I've made several. This is like the third, I think, because I made one for James. I made this one. I made one for my oldest son who lost it, and then I made this one. So I like it with the bigger needles too. But yeah, it's my husband's. I don't get to wear it. So I don't know if I mentioned, but this is the Mountain Backroads hat by Jennifer Myrick. So if anybody's interested in finding that pattern, love that pattern. So I did finish that. That was supposed to be his Valentine's present, but hey, you know, he got it in March. It'll be okay, right? He knows I love him. It got done. And then, so that was all the knitting I did. And then I have been very, very focused and intent on crochet. So I have some more crochet to show you. I'm very proud of myself. The first thing I did was a single crochet mini washcloth. And I was pretty happy. That came out pretty square. It's curling a little. I probably needed to go up a hook size. But it came out, I thought, pretty successfully. So then I tried the double crochet one. And that one came out okay. The edges are a little bit wonky. I think I was doing something wrong when I was following a pattern, a beginner's pattern. And what I was doing wasn't what the pattern said. So I was concerned that I had something wrong. So I did another one with a lot of help from my friend Kathleen Fuller, and this one actually is worse. You can see it's grown and shrinking there to the side. This edge here is just kind of crazy. So she's FaceTimed with me, and with lots of help and encouragement, I finally got one that is following the pattern correct and actually square. And so now that I knew I could actually make a square, crocheted square, I went ahead and did a pot holder. I know this is a boring pot holder to everyone, but I was proud of it because I crocheted it. This is the, let's see, double thick diagonal pot holder by Sarah Stearns. Yeah, and so, you know, reasonable progression, right? I made a couple of washcloths, a successful pot holder, so that means I can crochet a beaded bag, right? Well, I thought so. So I tried, and this is my 2 to Tango crocheted beaded bag. I don't know if you can see the little beads. It's just a dark spot. We need to put some more lights. Our lights have gone out. There you go. Yeah, so this is actually not too bad, except for all these little posts, double and treble crochets, are supposed to be vertical, and instead they kind of slant. And the bottom, because of that, I think my beginning of round kept getting moved over. Every time I'd start a new round, I must have been starting it over one, even though I had the right number of stitches the whole time, because the bottom of my bag and my handles do not line up like they're supposed to. These handles should be like right here on the edge. If I line up the handles the way they're supposed to, then the bottom of the bag doesn't line up. You can see though. So it has some issues, but overall I was pretty pleased. I mean, it's totally usable. The handles go in, you can put stuff in it, and I'm sure once I get some stuff in it, no one's going to be able to tell that if it doesn't, handles don't line up perfectly. So I plan to make another one of these. I'm going to get some yarn when I go to Hot Springs in a couple of weeks for that purpose. But yeah, I was really happy with that pattern. I did it. And I have some plans to crochet some more things besides another 2 to Tango bag and grow my skills in that area. So I am excited about that. I also finished my Soho Mama Cat and Baby Kittens, but I do not have those to show because they have already gone off to the little birthday girl who is already giving them a good home. But I'll put a picture of them in here. They turned out super cute. I enjoy that pattern. I made, I don't know, 4 sets of those or something like that. It's a quick and easy one, lots of fun. As far as whips, I only have 2 things on the needles right now that are new that you haven't seen. So the first thing is I went ahead and I cast on my Magical Thinking by Casa Pinka and got that started. So this was the yarn my mom brought back from Tennessee for me. She went to the House of Yarn in Tennessee and bought yarn for her and I, and we were both working on projects with that. And since it's called the Magical Thinking, I don't know what to call it. She says it's a shawl cowl combination. She says it's not a poncho. It looks like a poncho to me. I've been calling it a shancho. So anyways, since it's called Magical Thinking, I decided to use all of my little Harry Potter themed stitch markers. So there's my owl right there and my platform 9 3/4. I have just 50 stitch increments marked off. There's a lightning bolt. My center stitch is marked with a broom and winged key, and then I have another lightning bolt marking off the last 50, just so if I feel like I need to count, I have a point of reference. But yeah, that is coming along really well. I think I only cast it on, I don't know, early last week. I haven't had it going for very long, but it's going well. And then I also cast on a hat. So this is the Artist of Pentacles, I don't know how you say it, Pentacles, by Jess Knowles. And I had made my little fingerless mitts a while back. I think I showed these last month. They were a finished object. Out of this canopy yarn in the color sumac. And I found this hat and I thought, oh, this hat will be really pretty complement to those mittens. So I am making it out of Dream in Color Classy Christmas Vacation. That's the variegated color. And then the main color is this Fiber Company Canopy Worsted in sumac. And it's going to match. It's going to have these slipped stitch columns in the sumac color that are going up the variegated stuff. And I thought that would kind of match the little detail here that we had. And then the in between the slip stitches is like a purl side reverse stockinette section that kind of goes with the garter stitch that's going on in this one. So I thought it would be a good complement so that I have it. I like to have hats and mittens that go together, or sweaters and hats that go together. I just like things that go together. I think it's fun. So that is the other thing, and I just started that, like, I think literally yesterday I cast that on. I'm thinking about it, I should move up my marker. So I should have hopefully both of these done by the time I film. My mom and I are planning to wear our Magical Thinkings to the Seguin Fiber Festival, which is like the 25th-ish of April. So I still have 3 or 4 weeks to work on that. So that should be good. And that is all that I am working on other than Blanket of Knowledge. I have finished all 3 of my March blocks for Blanket of Knowledge. I really enjoyed this little tent pattern. It was a lot of fun to knit. I have all 3 of them done. And I went ahead and blocked all of my blocks for my Cabin in the Woods colorway, which is the one that I am knitting in the strip version. So I have all of them blocked. They all look so lovely when they're blocked. They're here. There's all of them. Oops. Yeah, I blocked them all. They're all coming out about the same size for me, which is really great. And they're just so pretty. So I'll probably do 12 months worth of blocks. And my blocks are, I'm using a size smaller needle, so I'm actually getting 3 blocks for each one of mine. So I should have 36 blocks. Should be a good sized blanket when all is said and done. I am a little bit behind on my enchanted strip version. So I think that when I did my enchanted, when I showed you last month, I had finished through January. I had finished through January and I needed to do February. I don't think I had started February yet. So I do have some progress because February is done. So there is my February strip. That colorway is called Sailor's Delight. But the reason that more is not done is because I ran out of my black. I had this much left to finish my divider and I ran out. So my plan was I had ordered just a full skein of black because I'm always struggling to have enough of the black for my dividers. But there was a mix-up and I accidentally got sport weight black instead of DK weight black. So I'm going to exchange that when I go back. I'm going to Arkansas in like 2 weeks. There wasn't any hurry to ship me more yarn. So I just told Tracy that when I come in a few weeks, we can swap them out and it'll be fine. But because of that, I didn't quite get to finish this last little bit. So I wasn't able to start the March color, but I do have the March color. And this is the March color. I think it is gorgeous. It's giving me super Lisa Frank vibes. I hope you can see that color really well. I like the March pattern a lot and I love the March yarn. I think I say that every month. I've loved all my yarn. I don't think there's been one color that I haven't loved, but so far Sailor Take Warning is probably my favorite. I am very excited to get to work on this. So as soon as I have the DK weight yarn that I need to finish that last, I don't know, 50 or so stitches, then I can work on the March strip and have both my blankets caught up. But yeah, I love the Blanket of Knowledge. If you are not doing the Blanket of Knowledge and you would like to join us, I do have an affiliate link down below. If you sign up through my affiliate link, it does benefit me. It does not cost any extra for you. So if that's something you are interested in doing, you can knit the blanket or crochet it. There are 8 different color stories you can choose from. So pretty much any color palette you want, we probably have something close to it. And you get, every month, you get the ball of yarn, some goodies, the pattern, and the community. And it's always a lot of fun. The knit boxes also come with instructional videos. I don't know about the crochet ones, but I love my blanket. It is coming. I mean, it's my block blanket is beautiful too, but you can just see, because the strips are in the shape of a blanket, it's just easier to see. I love it. One of the ladies doing it, she's doing white instead of black for her dividing, and it's amazing what a big difference that makes. We do have a Ravelry group and a Facebook group for the Blanket of Knowledge, so if you look for us there, you can see what everybody else is working on. It is a lot of fun. I really enjoy my time with the Blanket of Knowledge. So everybody knows that I am not hurting for yarn. So my acquisition section is a little scant this month. I don't actually have anything to show you. I did break down and order the Destination Yarns Total Eclipse yarn because, oh my goodness, it's gorgeous. And this is probably the only Total Eclipse I'll ever see in my life, and I couldn't miss out. So my mom and I actually ordered a full skein set, and we're going to split the skeins and share it. You could buy half skein sets, but it was a little cheaper just to buy the full skein set and split it ourselves. So that's what we did. That should be coming, it won't be here before the eclipse. It'll be here probably while we're in Seguin. It'll come sometime in there, end of April. And I'll show it when it gets here, but yeah, we're excited about that. We're not sure what pattern we're gonna use it with. Of course, my mom had the solar system set for a long time before we found the batad and decided to do that. It worked perfectly with that yarn. So I'm sure that we will find the perfect pattern to do our Total Eclipse yarn with eventually. So if you have a suggestion, let us know. And that will bring us to sharing. I have a winner to announce for last month's March shareable. So last month we are giving, I am giving away, I don't know how the grammar should work for that. The prize from last month is a poppable counter to help you keep track of stitches and rows. And then 400 grams of this beautiful Mirasol Nuna yarn in the colorway Field of Dreams. And this adorable dragon shawl pin. So the yarn and the shawl pin were donated to us by Hot Springs Fiber Company. This I found at Walmart and thought it was cute. But yeah, that is my prize for this month. And my winner for this month is Jasmine. I'm not sure if it's Posky or Posk. Jasmine Posk 5224. So congratulations, you are the winner. If you will send me an email at the email in the description box down below, letting me know your mailing information, I will get this prize out to you as soon as I can. And I have things to give away in April. Okay, so also this month's prize is donated again by Hot Springs Fiber Company. And what I have for you, you get it where you can see it. So this is an exclusive Hot Springs Fiber Company sock box. The color is blue, let's see, King Blue Crab Cakes. And it comes with a full skein of the Seriously sock in the King Blue Crab colorway, which is gorgeous. And a mini skein in the contrasting blue. A couple of stitch markers, they're little jelly bears or gummy bears. A sock pattern for a knitted sock, and some stickers. Of course, once you get your prize, if you want to crochet it, there's nothing at all in the world that says you can't. You can use your yarn however you want once it's yours. But this is a knitted sock kit if you wanted to use it for that. I also have, from Hot Springs Fiber Company, a acupressure ring. So there's instructions on how to use it. It is for finger fatigue that you might get from knitting. I have 2 blue knitting needle bracelets that my husband made. And I have another book this month. These are 3 stories by Kathleen Fuller. The book is called Amish Generations. I have read this book, not this book. This book is new for you. I have read my version of this book, and I really enjoyed these stories. So you are in for a treat. So if you are interested in taking home these homeless items, you will need to comment in the description box down below, no later than April 28th. This giveaway does have to be limited to people in the continental United States. I have shipped overseas in the past, but I just cannot continue to afford to do so. So I apologize for my overseas viewers. It's not personal. I love you and I appreciate all of you. I just don't have the funds to send prizes overseas at this time. So continental United States, comment down below sometime between now and April 28th to be entered to win. And tell me something good that's going on in your life, something encouraging. Give us an encouraging word down below. Love to hear what good things are happening for you guys. And that takes care of our shareables. Now, I do have a new little segment I want to talk about. I have made some changes to the way I think about my list of things I want to knit. So many of you, if you've been watching in the past, you know I have quite the Ravelry queue. Everything in my Ravelry account in my queue is a project that I have the yarn, I have the pattern, I have the needles. It's probably in a bag and just sitting, waiting to be knit. And there are 43 projects in that category last time I looked at my queue. And the problem is that I do knit from that list of things, but I also get sidetracked with new things, like somebody gives me something I want to knit, or you know, somebody's birthday comes up and I have to make a present, or something like that. And so what happens is things get put into that queue and they just kind of get shoved back. Battery went dead. We had to stop and fix the battery on my GoPro. I was talking about, planning. I've changed the way that I think about and plan for my knit projects. So instead of working through my queue on Ravelry, because that hasn't happened, after years of that being my goal, that has not happened, I have a new plan and I'm going to share it with you. So this is my knitting planning book. And what I am doing is I am writing down goals on this notebook page here. So I write down the projects that I need to do that have a deadline. Things like the hats I'm going to make for my dad and my stepmom that I need to have done before I go visit them at the end of May. Or the V-neck tee that I want to make to wear for Arkansas Yarn Crawl. My chancho that I'm making that I want to have done in time to wear to the Yellow Rose Fiber Festival in Seguin. Those things get written down and then a deadline gets put in. When I start something, I check it off my list. And when I finish it, I highlight it. And that way I give myself space. You can see here, I have room to put in like random things or things from my queue. I can add them in and work on them. But I keep in the forefront of my mind the things that have a deadline that I have a specific need to finish at a specific time. Then anything I'm working on, the pattern can go in this notebook. The one that I'm working on right away can be on the front, on the clipboard, and then I put the other patterns of things that I'm currently working on, they can go in this little pocket. You can also see, here's my list of books by Kathleen Fuller that I haven't read yet, so I can make sure I read all her books because I am enjoying all of her books. I've read most of them. Most of them, yep. So this is my new system. I still use Row Counter. That is an app, and I can upload the PDF version of my patterns into the app and make counters and sections, and I can write on it and highlight in it. I really love my row counter app. I still put all of my patterns in that, but I still like to knit most of the time from a hard copy pattern. And the way I think and plan, I do better with a hard copy. So I have the hard copies in my new knitting notebook. I have the row counter app for things that I want to. I don't put everything I knit in the row counter app, but some things I put in there so that I also have the pattern. If I'm out and about and I don't want to carry this big, huge notebook with me, I have that. But I'm going to try this new method of keeping myself organized. So when I have a moment and I need to cast on something new and I don't have something with a deadline that I absolutely need to start, I can look ahead and pull something off of my Ravelry queue and put it in my book as a thing that I'm actually working on. So that said, that also helps me have some plans. So I can tell you guys in advance some things I plan to be knitting in the future. So right now, the next thing that I will be starting that's not currently started is, let's see, 2 Happy and You Know It hats for my dad and Jossie. I need to start those. Those need to be finished by May 26th. So I also have a date in here, like when I need to start it no later than. So like, for example, you can see here's begin Dad and Jossie's Happy and You Know It hat, May 5th, due May 26th. So I know that if May 5th comes around and I haven't cast that on yet, I need to cast that on because I know roughly how many weeks I need to do, not any given project, but roughly like 100 grams of yarn, I need at least 10 days, most of the time. So that kind of gives me like if I haven't started it by this date, start it. And if I have, finish it by this date. For example, with the Magical Thinking shawl, I had written down a start date of no later than March 24th. I actually started that one a couple of days early, so I was ahead of schedule. And then in between those mandatory things that have a deadline, I can pick from my queue, knit what I want, gives me room to squirrel if I see something randomly that I just have to start right away. And yeah, we'll see if that keeps me on track. And I'm hoping that doing things this way will also start bringing the number of things in my queue down to something that doesn't just seem so overwhelming. Because right now, when I look at my queue, I've got all of these things that I want to knit, and I just get, I don't know. How do I decide? Like, it's so hard to decide what I want to do next. And some things have been in that queue for years, and I feel like I should knit them, but maybe I don't feel like, I don't know. It's just, for some reason, I have a mental block with my Ravelry queue. It has gotten overwhelming and frustrating, and this just feels better for now. So we're going to try it for now. If it doesn't work, I guess I'll report back next month and let you know if we've abandoned the system. But we're doing it so far. I am going to take you over here in a minute and show you the credenza where most of, not quite all, but the vast majority of my queued projects are sitting in their little project bags waiting to be completed. So we'll do that now. All right, so this is my knitting credenza, and you can see here I have a rack of where I keep like beads for knitting, and mostly beads. Oh, I have some little clips and needles and some leather straps and things for jewelry making. I have that used to as an Old Spice rack. I have this fish bowl full of yarn. All of these are 20 grams or less. I have some antique needle canisters and my collection of straight needles. But the really fun thing that I have over here is my queue. So the Ravelry queue corresponds to a real life physical queue. And all of these bags, and this is layers deep, guys, they are projects that are waiting to be done. So when your friends pick on you because you can't seem to finish anything, you can at least tell them you're in good company. All right, and that is all I have for you this month. A shorter video than last month. I miss my mom. She's not here with me. And I will work on figuring out what to do about this dark spot over here. I apologize for it in this video. I found that podcasting in my dining room seems to be the best light in general, and it probably would just help if I put light bulbs in my overhead lighting. That would probably fix a lot of the problem. So maybe next month we'll get around to actually putting light bulbs back in the lamp. But other than that, I am happy that you guys were here with me. I would love to hear about what you're working on. Find me in Ravelry, find me on Instagram. Show me what you got. I love to hear from you guys. And I hope you guys have had a wonderful week, and I hope you have a wonderful month coming up. I'm going to close this in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, I thank you so much for this past month and for the many, many blessings that you've given us. I thank you, Lord, for the opportunity to create beautiful things, to express ourselves through art. And I thank you most importantly, Lord, for Jesus, for the perfect life that he lived because I could not, for the death that paid for my sins on the cross, and for his resurrection, Lord, that he conquered death for all time, for all of those who believe in him. And in Jesus' most precious name I pray. Amen.